My name is Karen. Grew up in Washington, D.C. I've been clean for 22 years. I now work for the program that I went through.
I'm Scott. I grew up in Maryland. I got about 8.5 years clean. I moved down to Arlington, Virginia after coming through Phoenix House. I got into substance use and alcohol consumption around 14 years old. I was a teenager. I didn't like being Scott, so I found something to put in me that made me not be Scott, and that carried on for a good long time.
Got involved in substances, hanging around the wrong people. Was raised pretty good. I ended up using marijuana and it escalated to other drugs.
I got exposed to National Capital Treatment and Recovery. I was in an intentional overdose attempt, suicide attempt that failed. And I thought that I didn't want to die anymore, so I asked for help. And they sent me down to Phoenix House, National Capital Treatment and Recovery in Arlington. About 2.5 years later, I started to work at National Capital Treatment and Recovery, so that gave me stability and a sense of hope and a little path to follow when I got newly clean, right? And then I started to work there and I realized I wanted to do this for a living, and that started me on the path back to college for my social work degree. It's definitely been a 8.5 year journey of support with National Capital Treatment.
My lowest point was leaving my children. I would leave out, I would go get high, but I would leave out and go for days and would come back. That really hurt me. I can be in some places and once everything is gone, I just started thinking about my children. And that's what I talk about when the police had locked us up for being in the wrong place in a car with somebody with friends of mine, and they locked me up. National Capital Treatment and Recovery has gave me stability to get back to Karen. I have learned so much of being a patient and being a worker. I'm still learning a lot. I just want to keep giving back. And that's just the goal that's in me.
I guess the overall positive change that I've experienced is that I'm able to walk around this planet like a grown man. Firm sense of self, and I know where I'm going, and I have goals and ambitions, and I'm able to work towards those goals and ambitions with a clear head. Treatment was definitely the first start. That was ground zero. That was where I built the foundation and the structure and got introduced to the coping skills and the education that I needed. Then I went to a lot of therapy to figure out this big ball of yarn of stuff that I couldn't figure out, and was able to get a solid sense of self. And that's where the happiness comes from.
The hope and happiness and health would come from me. It actually started with treatment. It taught me a lot about, living back, being as a woman, a mother, a daughter, aunt, a sister. The healthiness is part is that I love on my loved ones. It's just, I'm back into the world. I'm back into being an addict that's recovered, and I don't have to go around and say that I'm an addict. If I don't say enough, they would never know.
The advice that I would give to potential clients is to give yourself a break. Addicts are very hard on themselves when they're using. Look at your life a year or 2 years down the road without drugs and see what may be able to happen with goals and ambitions and relationships, and try to make them see that life can be possible without drugs, and there can be choices.
I am so grateful for National Capital Treatment and Recovery. It just, brought life, made life all over again. So living life on life terms, it's just where it's at. And it all came through National Capital Treatment and Recovery.
If I had not realized that I needed some help in getting into treatment, I'd be dead. I would be dead. My parents would have no son, and they would be living out their old age and dying without anybody, because I'm an only child. So I'd be dead. I'm absolutely grateful for National Capital Treatment and Recovery. It was a place where they could show me a new way to live. It's a place that gave me a job when I didn't really have any job. And it's also a place that allowed me to figure out what I want to do with my life and pursue that goal.